You know, the fact that he's been a pulpit minister for 42 years, I have to tell you, that and nothing else is big, because it's a lot of work. And it's a commitment. And he committed to his teachers that he was never going to retire. So he'll be working at that for a long time. He's won numerous awards. He's written several books. He's portraying our founder in a film that will be out later this year that he promised to come back with.
I certainly will.
He's very involved with the International New Thought Alliance. He studied with our founder's brother and many of the great contemporaries of that time. And we're just blessed that he came to the East Coast to visit us this weekend. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Dr. Jay Scott Neale.
Thank you.
Time.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. And I am blessed to be here. Yes, coming from California. Let's see, it's now, what, 7 o'clock?
Yes.
I was sharing, I did the 60th anniversary for the New York church, and somebody called for, had an emergency, and I was up all night on the phone with them, and then did 2 services on Sunday morning, and then afternoon at the Tavern on the Green, and did a talk for the 60th anniversary, and I found out treatment works. Because you need it. We have some of the books here, if any of you don't have it and would like to have it. And I would say this, I am blessed to be here. You are so honored to have this wonderful commitment here, sitting over here, who absolutely loves and dedicates her life to your greater good. And I would like more and more of the congregations throughout religious science to understand the dedication of all of the ministers in New Thought, whether it's Unity, Divine Science, Religious Science, that we are here to be an alternative to what the world thinks. We're advised a long time ago, be not conformed to the world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, and we take that seriously. I was sharing at the conference, we are the descendants of Ralph Waldo Emerson, but if you really go back and look at it, Fenwick Holmes pointed out to me, Dr. Holmes' brother, that we are really the oldest religion on this planet. We go back to Aristotle in the East, we go back to Lao Tse in the West, Aristotle in the West, Aristotle in the East, and our Lao Tse in the East. I'll wake up in a minute, excuse me. So anyhow, but the thing is that if you study the great, the good, the wise, and I love this, I'm going to do this, we're going to set this up in Fremont, because if you look at the great, the good, the wise of all of these things, they all said the same thing.
Exactly. Yes.
Dr. Holmes said once, no thinking person of any religion will ever disagree with us, so the non-thinkers will drive them up the wall. And primarily because of what Emerson pointed out to everyone, is that Calvinism is not what Jesus was talking about. That we were not talking about an anthropomorphic being up in a throne somewhere that does things to us. How many know people that cop out and say, well, it must be God's will? God must. We did something at the Congress. I have my congregation affirm this almost every Sunday, and they say with me, God doesn't know what's going to happen to me.
God doesn't know what's going to happen to me
until I make up my mind.
Until I make up my mind.
Yeah. One of the great realizations that, as I shared over the weekend, when you embody this, the challenge is to embody it without going on a guilt trip, because Fenwick said when you share this as a teacher, a lot of times people go, and then they go backwards. And the thing, everyone say, I did what I did.
I did what I did.
Because it seemed appropriate at the time.
Because it seemed appropriate at the time.
Based on the information I had.
Based on the information I had.
At the time.
At the time.
This is not then.
This is not then.
You see, let what you Yeah, let what you've experienced. How many have had a negative experience in your life?
Just one.
The challenge is to learn from it. Because I was sharing someone the other day, they said, we gotta keep having this experience over and over again. I said, are you doing anything new? And they said, I don't think so. I said, well, you keep doing the same thing, you're gonna keep having the same experience. If you keep thinking the same way, you're gonna have the same experience. Is that not what we teach?
Yeah.
Why? Because there's a law that backs it up. I love your meditation, it was great. I studied comparative, back when I was 28 years old, I studied with Parvati Khan. He's the son of Hazrat who founded the modern day Sufi movement. And he was with Manly Hall at the Philosophical Research Foundation in Los Angeles. He was teaching, studied 3 months comparative religion, comparative meditation. Found out a lot of meditation on the planet was really communication from one mountaintop to another, like Morse code. Anyhow, then I took some other meditation and I practiced, and I was taught by someone that if you put your thumb on your ring finger, how powerful that is when you're meditating. And so I was new to religious science, and on Wednesday night I'd go hear Dr. Hornaday, and anyhow, Dr. Hornaday, Bill would just close, you know, you would go just to hear his treatment at the end, and I'm sitting there like this, you know, and he's doing the treatment. And when it was over, the guy sitting 2 seats over looked at me and said, you know, if you put your thumb on this finger, it's more powerful. And I thought about that for a minute, and I thought, what if I put a banana in my ear and stood on one foot? And I asked Dr. Bill about it, and he says, the powerful is in the acceptance of what you're doing, not what you're doing. Okay, faith. I love the song we sang. We sang faith. The idea. We just recently, Rod Loomis. Do you know Rod? The singer. His wife is Sandy. Sandy Freeman Loomis. Yeah. Rod and I have known each other since I was in Screen Actors Guild. Before that, he's a practitioner. He was with the Glendale Church, and so we knew each other before I became a minister. He is a wonderful Broadway actor, singer. I told him that if you go on my Facebook, I have about 20 versions of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. How many love the song?
I have it too.
You do it? Okay. Yeah. Anyhow, I said, he sang for me at Easter, and that's the song he sang.
Wow.
But he didn't understand the lyric. He was taking it literally. And I said, let's go back and look at it. And the song we sang this morning. In the second verse of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, it says, your faith led you to the truth. You saw her lying on the roof. Her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to a kitchen chair. She broke your throne and cut your hair, and from your lips you shouted hallelujah. And what was it saying? Truth, when you see it, is going to, everyone say, when I see it in a clear way,
When I see it in a
I
clear way.
cannot accept a vague explanation of it ever again.
I cannot accept a vague explanation of it ever again.
Once you have the breakthrough, you can't go, you don't have to repeat that. But once you have the breakthrough, and once you break through to a greater reality of the truth of yourself, you can't go back and undo it.
That's right.
You know, I am watching, one of the great experiences of my lifetime right now is I have a 6-year-old grandson. His name is Cash. Okay. And so I thought we'd get some prosperity in life from the beginning. Anyhow, Cash is great. But I watch this little 6-year-old, and I watch him quantum leap. And I watch him develop and learn and do all the things he's doing. And as someone said, he just turned 6, and they were right, because I found out when children turn 6, they become lawyers. You've been around a 6-year-old, and they're arguing their case, especially if you take them in the store with you. And they start telling why I need this. No, you don't. Yeah, I do. What are you gonna do with it? I don't know. Okay. But the 6-year-old does not hesitate to make a demand on what they want. We're told it becomes a little child. And maybe that's what it's all about, not to be childish, but to be childlike. And to allow ourselves to understand as a child does. You know the story of the junior church and the teacher's there and they're drawing pictures and the little boy's drawing a picture and the teacher says, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm drawing a picture of God." And he said, "Nobody knows what God looks like." Said, "They will in a minute." I had my grandson, my great grandson. I've had him for 2 weeks. I'm the great grandfather. The grandfather on the mother's side and I are just about raising about 80%. And so I had him 24/7 for 2 weeks. I'm 76 years old. I didn't think at 76 I'd be raising a 6-year-old, but I'm loving every minute of it. It's probably going to add 25 years of my life. But he's sitting there at home, and I have Comcast in California, and it has the remote. You can talk into it, and it comes up, and it's great, and which is wonderful for adults. It's also dangerous for a 6-year-old. And so anyhow, he's sitting there and he's watching a movie with sharks in it. And I was doing something and I looked over and saw what he was watching, and there was a shark attack going on, and I said, "Cash, is that scary?" And he looked over at me and said, "Scary is my middle name." I don't know where he got that. So. But maybe we ought to let scary be our middle name. Maybe we ought to scare the nonsense out of our life. I talked about in the book, I used it in my talk yesterday, that where I'm talking about rolling away the stone, and I'm talking about rolling away the stone of doubt and fear and come out into the light and ascend into a higher understanding of the truth of yourself. And this is what Dr. Holmes was all about. The sharing, we're kind of exploring. She mentioned the movie I Am Ernest Holmes in the film that's coming out very soon. The producer had some health challenges and was able to move through that. She is now free of that, and we're off and running. The film is complete with through post-production, and we will go into the next phase of it. She got the idea, and she moved forward with the idea, and the reason she wanted the film in the first place, she looked at the possibility of the future and wanted to make sure that future religious scientists really knew who Ernest Holmes was and what this was all about and what we are dedicated to.
Amen. And
so we moved forward with it, and we allowed ourselves to do it. Now I can do Ernest Holmes. Almost. In the film, somebody saw the trailer. Have any of you seen the trailer? You've seen the trailer, right? Has any of you seen the trailer? You have it? And yeah, ErnestHolmesLive.org, I think. And so if you do that, there's a 10-minute trailer of it, and it's going to be released soon. But I'm going to show. Let's jump for just a minute. And when I'm in the film, what it is if you're a fly on the wall, eavesdropping on Ernest Holmes, talking to all the people who were around him then, and these people were the actor Robert Stack, his mother, Reginald Armour, Bill Hornaday, Marilyn Leo played herself in it, and others that come up, and it's conversations with Ernest. And at the end of it, those of us who came out of RSI, I reminisce. And it was very interesting because I began to realize that they had not included Raymond Barker and Robert Bitzer and some others in RSI. And so I mentioned this to them, so they said, well, let's put it in. So I looked into the camera, and the experiences I had with Raymond Barker and Robert Bitzer and the stories they told me, I put it into this conclusion. And I just did it, I just flowed with it. And anyhow, the whole film, and the main thing that people are saying they love about the film is that conclusion. Okay. And that conclusion is the realization that Robert Bitzer accepted the commitment of Ernest Holmes, Raymond Barker accepted the commitment, other great leaders who came our way, and I was very fortunate to know and study with most of them. And they gave a challenge to each and every one of us, is let go and let yourself be this teaching and action. If you go in the textbook, you will see that halfway through, Dr. Holmes says, I would rather see you practice a principle in this book than memorize all the words. Memorizing the words and just saying the words is not what we're all about, because people who do that just know about this. What this wonderful teacher here and all the ministers and all the dedicated men and women who are involved in this are teaching in our classes is teaching you how to go higher than just knowing about it and be what we are. To be the conscious, to be religious. How does oneness think? How does God think? Let go and let yourself discover that. I had somebody come in the other day and they said, you people think you're God. I said, yes, we do. What else could we be? Look at it. God is what? Infinite? It made everything. What did it make it out of? Itself. Therefore, everything is what? It. You're not all of it, but all of it's ready to back up your next idea. Therefore, you should be responsible for what you're thinking about. You should think about what you think about. It's not enough just to be a positive thinker. You need to do what? You need to be an affirmative acceptor. And to allow yourself to know that you are the power of God in action and all of it, you know. One of the great realizations with a student of this teaching is to wake up and realize there is no one who's ever existed that has more power than I have. What backed up Jesus? The power of what? God. Okay. And what did he tell us? What I've done ye shall do in greater things. But he explained why that is true. He said, what? The Father, which is what he called it, within me is within you also. If it were not true, I would have told you. Isn't it interesting how many people forgot about that? They turned the man Jesus into the God Christ. But Jesus was turning us all into the Christ. Meister Eckhart said that God only begat one son that's forever begetting itself in everyone. There's no such thing as illegitimate birth, people. Every child that's born is a child of God. And everything, Dr. King, who said, we want to honor the content of character, not just the color of skin or anything else. That the embodiment of what we are, greeting itself and everything else, is the essence of what namaste means. When Dr. Holmes was at USC, speaking before a philosophy class, one of the students said, will you explain religious science to us in 25 words? He said, religious science is a correlation of the laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, and the revelation of all religions as applied to human needs and the aspirations of mankind. Laws of science, opinions of philosophy, and revelation of religion. So we find what? If we look at all of that, we find it's all saying the same thing. No great teacher of any religion has ever taught anything other than what we're teaching. But what we're teaching is a threat to orthodoxy, primarily because we are not, Iris is not here leading you to Iris. I'm not leading you to me. Ernest Holmes didn't lead you to Ernest Holmes. What are we all doing? We're leading you where?
To yourself.
To you. Everybody say, truth is not truth.
Truth is not truth.
Unless it leads me to me.
Unless it leads me to me.
If it's leading me somewhere else,
If it's leading me somewhere
it's
else,
suspect.
it's suspect.
Okay. Beware the guru leading you to the guru.
Right.
Okay, because it's a false guru. See, the reason, Jesus was an Elohim rabbi. And the Elohim rabbi taught what? One God. Now, he was opposed by the other denomination, which was the Yahweh or Jehovah rabbis, who were leading you to the authority of the pulpit, the authority of the priest, the authority of this. And so he came along and threatened their authority, and what did they do to him? You know what they did to him. And why did they do it? They did it because he was what? He was a threat to their authority. Okay. Now, how many know that one of the reasons Emerson was called a heretic? Part of the transcendentalists of that time, Abraham Lincoln, Henry David Thoreau, Henry Dixon, all these people were all called heretics. Why? Because they didn't believe in hell and damnation. Ernest Holmes said in 1947, when Cecil B. DeMille and all these, and the governor of California, Governor Goodwin Knight, and the head of the president of USC School of Medicine, and Robert Stack's mother, who donated $1 million to Ernest to start this. Others, I knew Robert Stack and spent a lot of time just talking about how he said he was Uncle Ernie to me. But they gave him all of this to start this work, and Ernest said, okay, we'll do it. And the crowbar they used to convince him to do it was, if you don't organize this, it's going to turn into a bunch of dusty books on somebody's bookshelf 100 years from now. So let's organize it to preserve it. He said, okay, but we've got a challenge here. I said, why? He says, we don't have anything to threaten them with. We can't scare them back in next week. That your minister has to be so good at what they do every Sunday that people won't come back and see if they can do it again. That if this beautiful teacher you have here that you should be celebrating and telling everybody in this community about, what you should do is allow yourself to really recognize that if one of you have proved what she talks about every Sunday and what any minister of religious science talks about, they just prove that you can prove it. Whatever somebody does, they just prove that you can do it. What everybody changed for the better, you can do it. There's one life, it's God, it's our life. We live many lives in this lifetime. I was sharing with our wonderful gathering this week that last Friday I was with one of my longtime members. She called me and said, and shared with me that her husband had been in a coma for 3 weeks, and we were going to remove him from life support. And so I go and we had a treatment, and I took his hand and we removed him from life support. Thank you. And as a result, of course, he made transition, and we said goodbye. My wife, who passed 14 years ago, when she left me, and her last words to me were, "Love me enough to let me go." Now, love doesn't go anywhere, okay? And life doesn't go anywhere. And we said goodbye to Lewis, and it was a beautiful experience, and we were all shedding tears, and the whole family was there, and we were all holding each other as he made transition. That afternoon, my great-granddaughter was born. And there's a picture of it, if you've seen it on my Facebook. She's 2 hours old in that picture. I've got it in my camera, so if you want to see it ever. And I thought, in fact, my grandson took a picture of me, and I've got her in my arms, and my eyes I'm treated. And my grandson is with me, my great-grandson's with me. So he's there with his new sister, I'm there with my new great-granddaughter, and welcoming, loving hands, meeting her. And this is the same thing true. We know that Lewis, as he moves forward, or anyone that you love and have made transition, know that loving hands met him here, loving hands are meeting him there. And whatever there is, Dr. Holmes said once, whatever it is, we'll all get together and compare notes and see who was right. But I believe it's one life, and I believe it's God, and I believe whatever it is, I'm moving from God, through God, to God. And I've lived many lifetimes in this lifetime. How many realize you have? Okay, so we go forward in this thing called life in a positive and beautiful way. Dr. Ernest Holmes, in his evolution, he started, as I shared this in Congress, as an Emersonian lecturer with his brother Fenwick, who was my teacher. I was very fortunate to have Fenwick invite me to come study with him. I was with him the last 3 years of his life. Here I am, oh my God, I'm with Ernest Holmes' brother. Ernest Holmes' brother was as important as Ernest was, really, in the long run. He was an advisor to President Woodrow Wilson. Used to debate William Jennings Bryan all over the country. Did the research for the Scopes Monkey trial. He did the research for Clarence Darrow that knocked William Jennings Bryan's off when he had William Jennings Bryan committed. It's in that movie about that experience. How many have seen that movie? Anyhow, but all he did in the trial was he got them to William Jennings Bryan to admit that before the sun was created, according to the Bible, okay, could the day have been 1 second longer than 24 hours? Okay. And when Bryan said, yes, if there was no sun, he said, then it could have been 5 billion years. Okay. Who cares how long it was? In the universe, in the infinite mind, it's all happening at once. And my consciousness goes forward and the law backs up my ideas and I move into the event that my mind created and it's there because I thought it up. Everyone say, my world's thick thought. Now if you don't like what you're thinking up, let it go. Think something else up. Get another idea. Content of character. Your content of character is infinite mind. Everyone is infinite mind. My little great-grandson, I look at him and I say, this is what everybody's going to be 100 years from now. And the reason I say that is because he has a Thai grandmother, a black grandfather, and a German father, an Irish grandfather, and he's just beautiful. Okay, and I look at him, I said, that's everybody 100 years from now. Okay, why? Because the ignorance of separation will disappear as education and thinking heals it. But what do we do as religious science? We say there's nothing to heal, therefore what? We are what? All one with God. We are all, if anybody asks you who you are, tell them you're a child of God, we used to sing. But that song is still good now. Who's a child of God? Everybody. Okay. And here's the thing about it. We do spiritual mind treatment. Anybody of any religion who is praying, who believes what they're praying about, will demonstrate. God doesn't care what denomination you are. It does listen to your acceptance. And it also listens to how you feel about the world around you, because what you're feeling about the world around you, if it's positive, it is your positive self-definition thinking about the world. And if you think the world is negative, it is your negative self-definition defining what you're going through. And if you're looking for something to be upset about, how many know you'll find it?
Yeah.
Okay, but what if you're looking for something to be happy about, Susie? Did she wonder? I told mine, listen, I got one at Fremont, her name is Katrina. My wonderful Katrina is my right hand, as you have, but she worked for Al Davis and the Raiders for 9 years, and now she's with me. And her mother and father-in-law are Reverend Bonnie Anderson and Reverend Andy Anderson, and they're doing concerts all over the country. So
great.
But anyhow, they are. She said if I can put up with Al Davis, I can damn sure put up with you. Yeah. And she's wonderful. She's like having 5 people work for me because she is so organized and so complete and so that, and I think she reads my mind, I'm not sure, because she always accomplishes what I want right before I ask her to do it. I'll say, can you do that? She's done. Okay, but how many know that's really what treatment is all about and what religious science is all about? Is that we do what? We let our, treatment, as you know, if you've studied this, does not make anything happen. Treatment describes what is already true. And then we let it go, and we let God and the law, and we release it. That's the important part, release it. Everybody say, I release it. I release the great law of mine.
Great
law
law.
accepts it, acts upon it, demonstrates it,
Demonstrates it.
and that's the way it is.
And that's the way it is.
And that is the way it is. See, we are not healers, we're revealers. We don't heal anything. And there's nothing around you any except we take it, we make it thorough. Dr. Holmes said 3 ways to get rid of a headache. Go back to pure spirit, which knows no headache. Change the cause of the headache, or take the God substance within an aspirin. It's all God. And I have had surgery, and I've had some other things happen that, whatever, and as I'm treating before they put me under, I know damn good and well, I'm on that table going, God in me greets the God in this doctor. And the God in the expertise in the doctor, and the God in, and I celebrate the fact that they took time to expertise in such a way that they will do whatever they know how to do with me in a way that is beneficial to me. I'm not going to go out and look for a doctor who's read every book they can find on surgery, but never operated.
Right.
Okay, how many would get on a plane with always read every book in the world on flying, but never flew a plane? Okay, so we do what? We do what? We practice, practice, practice. Dr. Holmes says, watch what you're rehearsing because the curtain will go up. And what are we rehearsing? What we think about all day long. And if you whine and moan and complain, you're going to keep whining and moaning and complaining things in your life, so you can keep whining and moaning and complaining. Okay? And, complainers have to fill their life full of things to complain about until they wake up and stop it. And all of a sudden they begin to celebrate instead of complain. Okay? There's 2 kind of people on the planet. There's people who light up a room when they enter, and there's people who light up a room when they leave. Choose you. Okay. The God in me greets the God in every opportunity. The God in me greets the God in every experience of what namaste means. But there's other ways of saying it. Shalom. I'm a blood brother to the White Buffalo shaman in the Lakota. His name is Richard Mooskamp. He is White Buffalo to the Lakota, and they have a wonderful statement that I absolutely love. It is Mitakiye Ayasni. Mitakiye Ayasni. And what it means is I love my family and all are my family. Mitakiye Ayasni. And that's really what religious science is all about. And it has been since the very beginning. It has been, we didn't have any problem with including everybody in this teaching. We didn't have any problem with race or form of religions or anything else. The God in us was greeting the God in everybody who walked through our doors and said, hey, isn't it great we're all one? Isn't it great we're all family? At our center, our mission statement is joining a spiritual family to lovingly support spiritual living. To lovingly support healthy-minded living, to lovingly support joyous living, loving living. This is one beautiful life. And the thing is, if we allow ourselves to look at the day we're in, the moment we're in, and celebrate the people that are waking us up, how fortunate you are to have this dedicated, wonderful religious scientist as your pastor. Tell the world about her. This feels so good today. There's not a lot of people here, but what if it doubled overnight? What if it tripled? And what if people coming along? I look at the young people here, thank you for being here. I was sharing with that, one of my youth is now an astronaut. Because they took our classes, saw Top Gun and said, that's what I want to do, can I treat for it? Now they're an astronaut. I did their wedding in San Francisco at Moffett Field, and we're standing there, and here I was a second-class torpedoman on a submarine, and here I am with all these officers and this, and he was a lieutenant commander at that time, met the right young lady and asked me to do the wedding, and I go over there and they got swords crossed and all this stuff, and I thought about the day that he walked in and said, I want to be in a plane flying it, and they moved in the plane now, getting ready to go do whatever astronauts do. Now, I don't want to do it, but I'm sure I was on a submarine for 4 years, so I'm sure you don't. A lot of people don't want to do that too. And as I told everybody, going back to the submarine after all these years that I spent, so that my bed's still there. My rack is still in the place it was in. And I looked at my friend, I said, look at this. This is great. But I did find out one thing. It's smaller than I remember. And then I thought about that for a minute and realized I was smaller. But it was wonderful seeing it, wonderful going through it, wonderful meeting another crew member who was there after I was, and to go in history. If you don't know about the submarine in Baltimore, it sank the last ship of World War II.
You were on the tours?
I was on the tour. I spent 4 years on the tours. Have you been on it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, good, yeah. But her history is wonderful, and that's why she's here. It's because she has that historic thing of the last ship sunk in World War II was sunk by the Tories. And so we had a great history, had a great captain. We were very close to being McHale's Navy, if you remember that. But we opened up the St. Lawrence Seaway. We went to France, and we were in the Lebanon crisis. We did many, many wonderful things. And the beautiful thing about it is, if you are in a state of consciousness that has anything to do with anger or blame gaming or confusion, doubt, fear at the level of being on a crew on that, you don't exist there anymore. We had about 3,000 start submarine school and 311 of us graduated. And the reason is everybody, unlike Harmony, left. But what if you could get rid of everything unlike Harmony in your life? Wouldn't you be happy about that? Okay, now if you're going to accept that, don't run after, Shane, come back, Shane. No. How many finally release something? I'm about to drop something on the floor. How many have released something and turn around and try to get it back again? Okay, let it go. The idea is to be the beautiful in action. How many cat lovers here? Okay, yeah, me too. I had a Maine Coon cat, 28 pounds, about this big. I've got a picture of it. And he was absolutely wonderful, 17 years. My beauty, we called him BK, Big Kitty. And Big Kitty, one morning I was called him to feed him and he was gone. Passed me sleep. I thanked him so I didn't have to take him somewhere and have it done. And I took him to the animal shelter and treated, and Cash was with me. And we go in there, and the woman saw I was shook up about it, and she said, "You like Maine Coon cats?" And so I said, "Yes." She says, "We have one down here we won't kill because he's the best cat we've ever had in here." He said, "But nobody will adopt him because he weighs about 21 pounds and he has long black hair." And so Cash and I go back there and he reaches out the cage for us.
Oh.
And yeah, I've had him now for 2 years, and and he's wonderful, and he's and he's even more of a gentleman than the other one was, and he is very it is like anything else that you have in your life. If you love it, it'll love you. How many know your dogs feel your love? Okay. But how many know your dogs can also pick up on your fear and your doubt and your, okay? Okay. But what if life is, what if everybody's like that? What if your own consciousness of love and stuff? What if your consciousness here of expanding this wonderful group that you have here, this wonderful community of love, what if you all get together and say, what we're studying here is good enough to be true, let's really put it in action and create a happier community here in the Baltimore area. See, you can be responsible for that. God, everybody say something that Dr. Barker used to say to all of us. You ready? Dr. Raymond Charles Barker I'll tell you two things he said. One was, he would say, how many of you here have been studying religious science for 30 years? And all these people would raise their hand. And he'd say, how many are still working on the same problem? Okay. You don't have to have a problem to have a reason to be here. Okay. But then he would also say this to us, say with me, God loves the world.
God loves the world
By means of me.
by means of me.
That's how it does it. Not from afar, from your heart. And if more people love the world, knew that, and honored that, because every religion really teaches it. If we let go, I think we are people from every religion, every faith, every race, who've come together and said, maybe the great, the good, the wise were good enough to be true, and maybe I can let go and affirm, say with me, all my dreams
All my dreams
are waiting for me to come true.
are waiting for me to come true.
I do so now.
I do so now.
Thank you for inviting me.
Namaste.